I am the apprentice in the House of Lords, I would guess. Yeah.
Okay, who wants to ask a question? Go on.
As a young person who's interested in getting into business, what would you suggest would be the best route to?
Well, first of all, normally it's your mums, your dad, your headmaster, your teachers at school, people around you will be telling somebody that they spot something in you, right? Yeah, and if you haven't heard that a lot in your life while growing up, then change direction and become a doctor or a lawyer or something like that. Because I cannot emphasize enough that to be in business, you need a certain acumen, a certain talent. So if you've got that, good. The next thing is you need to get yourself a job. You need to become expert in something, have a knowledge like I did with my car aerials and the industry I was in, okay? And of course, you need to enjoy it, yeah? You need to enjoy what you're doing and whatever business you want to be in. So there's those three stages, really. You need to mass some experience and have an idea. Why you? What have you got that Fred and 10,000 other people haven't got? You know, what is your USP?
Okay, next question.
What would you have to do if you wanted to be a lord from a sir?
Well, I don't have to do anything. Again, this is other people do it. Other people who recognise your ability invite you to become one. You can't go and ask to be one. So, as you couldn't ask the Queen to give me a knighthood, it was prime ministers or the Chancellor of the Exchequers, prime ministers dating back from Thatcher. Who was after Thatcher? What was his name?
John Major.
Oh, Major, yeah. He created a big impression on us in the end. Major, and then Blair, that make the recommendation, and eventually you're invited to become a knight. And then after that, again, it would be a government, either a prime minister, in my case, a prime minister who wanted me appointed to the House of Lords.
First you get an OBE, don't you? Then you'll become a dame, and then in the end you'll become a lord or a lady.
I'm trying to,
Okay,
I don't know what happens with the title. I don't know, a lot of people ask me, and people still call me Sir Alan. I don't blame them for that. I can quite understand that, because a lot of people don't realise that the actual title is Lord Sugar, as Adrian's got it. I don't. Someone told me the other day that it's still allowed to be called Sir Alan. And I, as an entrepreneur, have decided, I tried to see if I could flog the title to Simon Cowell, but the Queen wouldn't allow it.
Okay, yeah.
Lord Sugar, being a multi-millionaire, is it as good as it's cracked up to be?
Money don't mean anything, mate, I can promise you. My wealth, beyond physical money, my wealth is, the family that I have, three great children and seven grandchildren, and that I can put my head on the pillow at night and not have to worry about ever screwing anybody or legging anybody over or doing anything bad. That's my wealth, yeah?
And he still gets miserable when Spurs lose.
Yeah,
so money doesn't help that, does it?
No.
Okay, great question. Next. Go on.
Majority of the kids I've asked today, I've asked them why they want to be like you. Majority of them said because you're wealthy, because you're rich, because you're famous. Is that something that you implement or something that you encourage children to be involved with when sort of developing into a business?
I think everybody's got to have aspirations of what they've got to do. Or a lot of people would like to be a great, successful business person. They can't. Just like I can't be a great concert pianist, okay? So it has to be inside you. And so you have to decide at a certain stage in your life which direction you want to go in, yeah? I mean, a lot of people in business, for example, who have got expertise in their field, particularly, you take, just for example, Waitrose. Just take Waitrose as an example. Now, some young people might think this is stupid, But to take a job in Waitrose in the fish department and over a course of a period of time become expert in fish and what they sell there, trust me, is a great career. Because one day, just like Terry Leahy of Tesco's, he became the boss. Yeah, simple as that. He became the boss. And too much of the culture of fast track, want to make the quick, fast buck, and that has got to go. We've got to get rid of that culture amongst the young people, I think.
But I think what the lady was getting at, is that what drove you, that you wanted to be rich, wealthy, same thing obviously, and famous? Was that your aim in the first place?
No, I think the thing is, I was born into a very poor family. What drove me was not wanting to actually struggle like my father and his brothers and all that, and I just wanted to be self-sufficient. Never any aspirations of multi-millions of pounds. It was always to do with not having to rely upon anybody else. It just got out of hand.
Okay. Sorry, go on.
Hello. Firstly, I'd just like to say you're a great inspiration to me. And just want to find out what your retirement plans are, or what your future plans are for the business.
I'm not going to retire, I don't think. I'm hoping that Apple will come out a device that they'll put in my coffin with me in case I'm not dead, and then I can communicate with the bub. No, I'm not ready for retirement. I have to keep active. And, in the electronics business, which I'm still in, you read in that book there, is that we have seasons. In fact, we're just coming in to the season now, the big selling season, October, November, December. And we complete our projects and we start our production in July at building up the inventories and the stocks. And we develop the products maybe a year before. And that's what interests me, developing products. And I used to tune out of the product the minute it hit the shops. To me, it was over. I want to get on to the next item, because then the marketing people and the sales people just get on with it. We've invented and created something else, and every year we would turn to my people and say, what are we going to do for an encore next year? And the thing about electronics and technology is there is always something. There is always something new.
Lord Sugar, obviously you're famous for the quote, "You're fired" from The Apprentice. Have you ever been fired yourself?
No. I've only had two jobs. I walked out of the first one, civil service. You can just imagine me in the civil service, can't you? Yeah. And the next job was similar to the civil service. And then I became a commercial person by working as a salesman in a tape recorder company, where I had started to attain experience in the electrical business. And I walked out of there and walked out of another job and started on my own, yeah.
Did you have one down there? Yeah.
Hi, I was just wondering, what's your view on the proposed spending cuts and how it will affect UK businesses?
Well, I mean, most of the spending cuts we're talking about is government spending cuts on the public sector. So it's civil servants being effectively chucked out of work. This 490,000 figure that's bandied around. And now let's not panic. It's not going to happen next Monday. It's going to happen over a period of time. And what the current government is saying is that those 490,000 people will be eaten up in the private sector. I don't tend to agree with that, quite honestly. Logically, it tells me at the moment that if you're going to make 490,000 civil servants redundant, the first thing is the government's going to have to pay them redundancy pay, and then I fear that they're then going to go on benefits. And I wonder, whether you're out the frying pan into the fire. So the government is relying upon drumming up public sector work for them. I don't know.
Lord Sugar, You put a lot of time and effort into the apprenticeship series. What do you get out of it personally?
Well, I agreed to do it simply because I've spent a lot of time. I mean, I knew Gordon Brown since 1997. And from 1997, I was doing lots of road shows, things like this, actually, in universities, schools, colleges, further education. In fact, it made me feel old last year when I was doing a road show in Manchester, that one of the people talking there, one of the people I was talking to there said, "You spoke to me 12 years ago," you know, and he's now in business himself. And so I've been encouraging young people to be realistic, first of all, and to try and help them and guide them into business, yeah, by being very honest and very frank with them. And that was done by a series of seminars all over the country. I think I've been to every university in the country in the past 15 years. The Oxford Union about 6 times, the Cambridge Union 3 times, and when the Apprentice opportunity came up, to me it was a wider picture. It was a way of instilling enterprise into the young people again, in I would say a light-hearted way. Business programs prior to that were Sir John Harvey Jones. He did a great job in his day. It was a BBC Two program. And as the youngsters would say, only the crinklies would watch it, you know. And so therefore, it would only be business people that would actually go and watch it. The Apprentice has kind of widened that thing. And as Adrian alluded to just now, after the first series was a success, naively, I allowed the production people to go off the rails a little bit, and it started to get too close to, as I said, I call it Big Brother on wheels, quite frankly. The caliber of candidates were there for the wrong reason, and it was at that point afterwards I put my foot down and said that we need to make the caliber of candidates more credible. Now, having said that, you most probably saw last week's episode, and you're going to tell me, how could you put up with such a load of brain deads? They're not brain dead, so it's another story, that is. So, long way to answer your question, it's to encourage people, and youngsters of the age of these people here are inspired. Every single school in the country now has some kind of apprentice thing going inside, and it's become part of the curriculum, albeit not officially part of the curriculum, but everywhere you go, and it's just inspired people. And the day that it stops inspiring people, I will stop doing it.
Okay, we've just got time for 2 more questions. I've got one here and then the lady at the back there. Sorry, go on.
Hello, Lord Sugar. Quite interested to hear what you think of video calling and, you know,
video
calling.
Video conferencing.
Video conferencing and calling using normal telephones like you have on the iPhone.
It's good stuff. And as we get wider pipes into our offices, the quality gets better and better and better. It's very, very good stuff. I still don't like video conferencing, quite frankly. I like to be in front, face to face with people. But actually, you know, if it's a case of flying across the other side of the world, I will do it. I think it's very good. Video conferencing is excellent, and it can only get better. As I'm assured by our government yesterday, our new Prime Minister, that they're going to invest in more fibre optic in the country, and therefore the pipes will get wider, the bandwidth will get wider, and the quality should be better.
This gentleman here, since the microphone's close, and then go on.
Hi, one of my maxims for life is no misfortune so bad that whining about it won't make it worse. What's one of your maxims for living, and how's it guided your success?
Well, I have this kind of virtual baseball bat and think about problems And I kind of always say, take the baseball bat and smack them out of the way. Logically, work out and get them out of the way. If they are problems which can only be solved by admission of failure, then admit failure and get on with it. Or if there are problems, as in many cases, of deciding that you need to pour more money into something or you need to give something up, then be realistic and get on with it, and don't cry in your beer afterwards and just move on. So that's what I've always done, really.
Okay, we'll have to call it a day there. Thanks very much for being a great audience, and should we give Lord Sugar a round of applause? Thanks very much for that.